All right, here we go. Hey, everybody, welcome to our EPI webinar series. My name's Scott Snider. I'm the president here at the Exit Planning Institute. Always happy to jump into our webinar series for our overall EPI community and certainly for our certified exit planning advisor community as well. Kind of a special edition of our webinars as I wanted to introduce or perhaps even reintroduce a longtime partner of EPI, Mouse. And so Mike is here from Mouse, and what I want to talk about today is really how certified exit planning advisors and really overall how exit planning advisors of all different types are utilizing Mouse to better their practice, to help it grow, to help it systematize, to help it optimize for themselves, their firms, and for their clients. So we're going to probably do this webinar in maybe 3 segments. I want to talk a little bit about the history, talk a little bit about the CEPA community for those of you that are not certified exit planning advisors. I want to talk to you about how the makeup of advisors comes out of the CEPA program. I'm going to toss it over to Mike to talk a little bit about Mouse and how it relates to the methodology and how it helps CEPAs implement what they do. And then we're just going to have a little bit of a chat back and forth about some of the programs they have going on with EPI and for our exit planning advisors, particularly our CEPAs. You'll see Mouse and Mike and everybody there at our exit planning summit. They big partner for us this year, and we'll be back in Scottsdale, Arizona at the Phoenician in May of 2023 next year. Also hosting a session and a part of our partnership group there. So just kind of a quick recap maybe of for those of you that are newer CEPAs or maybe not CEPAs, a quick recap of the history of EPI and Mouse. I would say, Mike, that Mouse is likely one of maybe 2 or 3 of our longest running partnerships. So Chris and I bought the Exit Planning Institute back in 2012, and Mouse was kind of already there in a key and critical part of the toolkit that was provided to our certified exit planning advisors. It was actually founded back then by a CEPA named Peter Hickey from Sydney, Australia, who kind of became a CEPA and saw, from my opinion, kind of saw a void in the marketplace to say, look, I think what really needs to happen here is that certified exit planning advisors need a great tool to help power their practice and power some of their deliverables and enhance their conversations. And so long-running partnership, they've always been, for those of you that are longer time CEPAs or perhaps just advisors in our community, you've seen Mouse for a long time. If you've seen Mouse lately, they have gotten a new brand, a fresh look, and I think very modernized and upgraded to serve what I would say, let's call it the modern day CEPA, or this most trusted and most valued advisor that the certified exit planning advisor becomes. And so let's talk a little bit about those demographics and the role. So there's about 25,000 advisors inside of the EPI community integrated into chapters, webinars like this, summit, and so on and so forth. Out of those, about 4,000 of them are certified exit planning advisors. And they really break down in 3 ways. So the biggest subsector, if you will, the biggest segment of certified exit planning advisors are actually financial advisors, who likely what we always call are these kind of influencers, educators, engagers. They're becoming CEPAs really because they want to be involved way earlier on in the conversation. They want to come with a more holistic approach that embraces the 3 legs of the stool, these 3 elements that I think every business owner has: business, personal, and financial. They're also coming for the network. They want to be able to have a strong network of like-minded advisors, all kind of speaking the same language and in the same framework, which for us is the value acceleration methodology, so that along the way, when they're having these more robust conversations with business owners, they're bringing in different advisors, like the value advisors or the attorneys or the investment bankers along the way, to help better their clients and take their companies from what we call successful to more significant. The other end of that spectrum, I would say then, is the value advisor. The value advisor is typically a consultant type CEPA that is really implementing and powering the entire value acceleration methodology for their business owner clients. They are doing triggering event engagements, these opinions of value, discovery, enterprise value assessments, whatever they might call them in the market. So that's gate 1 of the methodology. They are maintaining that client and servicing that client managing this exit planning engagement, almost like a CVO, if you will, a chief value officer, maintaining and managing this project through the prepare gate and working through those 90-day business sprints for those of you that are CEPAs have learned. And so they're actively working and charging for these types of services that they've learned through the value acceleration methodology in the CEPA program. Then they have this middle ground group, which we are, sometimes I call them pure kind of triggering eventers. They're usually a multi-service style firm that is doing one part of the methodology. These are typically like your accounting firms. It might be like your investment banking or M&A firms. These folks are saying, look, I have multiple services I provide an owner. What I'm going to do is take the exit planning part and insert it into what I do, or insert a part of it into what I do, like the CPAs. CPAs are saying, look, I'm already doing a type of valuation. I'm going to do a different type of valuation for these clients, but I don't necessarily want to run the prepare gate. I'm going to go give that more consultative style work back over to our value advisors, growth consultants that are out there. Or they might say, look, I am a pretty full service and robust firm. If you're looking at state of owner readiness survey research, what you'll find is that like 40-something% of these folks of business owners believe that the CPA is their most trusted advisor, likely because there's so much diversity in the services that they provide. So to kind of recap those demographics of the certified exit planning advisor community, you have these influencers and educators, these connectors of people that are likely your financial advisor. Again, looking to connect and empower the owner to take action. You have your multi-service firms that have robust sets of services. We're adding exit planning as a part of those services to owners. And then you have your consultants, kind of like Chris Snider, back in the day where he had Aspire Management, where he became a CEPA to have a holistic approach, but really manage the engagement as a value advisor CEPA. What I think is cool, kind of looking through those demographics, is that each of them have a little bit, they have some similarities, but they also have a unique path in form of implementation. So once I've become a certified exit planning advisor, or maybe I'm not a certified exit planning advisor and I'm trying to think through how am I going to implement what I'm learning or what I have learned and make it a part of my practice. There are kind of 2 or 3 unique paths that they take for each role. What I love about Miles, again, longtime partner for us, and I think one of the advantages that they have is that they truly understand the CEPA and they truly understand the value acceleration methodology. Given they've been around for so long, they've seen that methodology evolve. In fact, interesting enough, Mike, one of the sessions next year at the summit will be Chris Snider talking about the evolution of exit planning, because believe it or not, the value acceleration methodology is 10 years old next year. So what I like about Miles is what they've done is they've basically tweaked, if you will, the 120-day playbook, this implementation guide for the certified exit planning advisor. These folks that are coming through the CEPA program and saying, now what? And so they've taken that, they've evolved that implementation guide and circulated the Mouse product and the Mouse platform around it, saying, let's go on this journey to implement what we've learned, and let's take Mouse alongside us to help further that journey and enhance our products and services, and frankly, our brand overall. I want to, introduce Mike. Mike, again, if you want to share your screen, feel free to do so, and kind of recap. Let's call it Mouse 2.0. The U.S. expansion of Mouse, what I think for many Mouse users or potential future users is music to their ears. Having this original, maybe Australian product back in the United States with United States roots is a big value add as well. And talk a little bit about the accredited partner program and how you're going to help CEPAs.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for the intro.
Yeah, man.
And thanks for putting this together. Of course, we're really thankful for the relationship with the EPI, and I'm a big fan. I think it's worth saying publicly, I'm a big fan of Scott Snider, mainly because I don't know if this is, something I witnessed, but I got a couple buddies that are second generation in business, and it's just different, man. You work, and I appreciate how much you work and are passionate about the EPI community. So
yeah, Mike, thank you. I appreciate that, man. I was literally on a call, another conversation like this with a large financial institution, and people were asking me this. Everybody's always fascinated about family business and this gifting of business, and so yeah, it's interesting. I think the big difference, right, is that Chris made me buy in. Chris is not a big gifter, so I think that a whole nother topic for another time, but I can appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'll give you a little bit of an agenda. Today, we'll give it a USA update, talk a little bit about the implementation guide, and we've got a really exciting offering. The main idea of getting together today is to really talk about this partnership program where we're going to work with the EPI a little bit to just make it a little bit more relevant for CEPAs. So a quick update on the US front. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Mike Brady. I'm the account executive here handling North America. And obviously, historically, we've been an Australian company, but we were purchased by a private equity firm just a year ago this month. So it's been 1 year now. And our expansion into the US, so far, so good. We're really excited about everything we've provided as far as support goes. So with me being here since December now, we've also introduced now Zara. Zara comes from a valuation software company. So she's up in Canada and she's able to service you guys on the East Coast. In fact, she's even further east than me in Buffalo, New York. And being an American, I didn't know that you could go any more east in New York. So Zara was pretty impressed at how bad I was at understanding how the world works. So you've got round the clock coverage is the whole point here. When traditionally we deal with Jack, and Jack's available for sure if in the event that Zara goes offline at 5, 6 p.m. Eastern. Jack is just having his coffee. So you really do have round the clock coverage where historically you had to wait till I think somebody at the summit told me that can you tell Jack to stop calling me at 8 p.m. But not realizing that's his 10 a.m. So yeah, pretty exciting to have Zara on board with us handling the group as far as a customer success front goes. And we're not done there. We've got plenty of work to do on the US front and plans for expansion. But to touch a little bit on let's go to the implementation guide. So this is Aaron's brainchild. Aaron, our CEO and CEO of Bomb Diggity, the private equity firm that has bought Mouse. Aaron is what I would say he's like the finishing carpenter who's coming in and looking at Mouse, where I think we were built on such a great foundation from Peter Hickey. And I always look at Aaron from a software perspective as now his goal is to really make this more intuitive, easier to use, more functional for folks, and just give the whole place a facelift that I'm pretty excited about. And one of the problems, the thing that I love about Aaron is that he's a master problem solver. His goal is to really, when he's in a space or in a room, our biggest takeaway from the summit was that we noticed there's room for people to get a little bit of onboarding from the EPI curriculum to how do I now execute this in real time? And to have a solution, a tech solution is great, but to have a guide that really maps the curriculum from the EPI to our software is really what we thought was a really big advantage. So you can see here, this is the 4th revision since the summit. And we've still got probably some work to do. Things always change. So right now we're pretty excited to announce though that we have the implementation guide available for anybody. This is free. You can, email me. I will throw my contact information into the chat, and feel free to send me an email if you want the implementation guide. We'll get that over to you. And this is ultimately just going to be a roadmap. Let's take the curriculum and let's map it over to our software tools. But more importantly, I think it's pretty cool. We were influenced by this cookbook. There's a cookbook out there that has different indicators for different dietary restrictions. So you can take a look through the cookbook to really identify with who you are and is this page relevant to me? So we've done the same thing here as far as value advisors or quarterbacks. We really want to be sure that you can identify which part of our platform is relevant for you and maybe which part isn't. I think that's really useful. I'm pretty excited about that. And how people use this differently, I think is worth noting. If I'm a quarterback versus a value advisor, obviously we're going to have different levels of engagement. We took away from the EPI summit that we didn't realize how many financial advisors were in the CEPA community. and really a strong presence, not only in the CEPA community, but attending, the summit and really thirsty for more information. So I'm licensed, I'm 663 and 65 licensed. I understand compliance. And, when we came over here, compliance doesn't necessarily mean data security, right? Compliance means a lot more than that in the financial services industry. And it is fun how everybody's compliance is completely different. I would love for it to be uniform, but that's not how it goes. So what we've realized was that we wanted to give a focus or a solution to financial advisors or anyone really playing that quarterback role. And we're really excited to announce a new workflow going forward for those folks. But for now, what we would see is I would tell anybody if I'm a quarterback, Mouse has a ton of offerings. You can really even get into HR profilers and questionnaires and job descriptions. If you wanted to automate that process, you could do that, performance reviews. And that's really wonderful for those full service accounting firms that use us. But in the EPI community, if someone were to really take us on from a quarterbacking perspective, Value Max is where everybody would sit. Value Max is the exit planning solution. So if you asked who our competitors are, it kind of depends on what's the scope of work. If it's just exit planning, Value Max would be the tool to compete with the other exit planning tools. If it's financial reporting, we've got other financial reporting tools that can compete with them. So I do think we're the most holistic or inclusive tool in the space. If we did want to expand beyond exit planning to strategic planning, I see a lot of times I've got a business owner that the father passed his business to his daughter. Okay, great. The exit plan's great. Now we got to move into strategic planning to now see how the daughter's vision is going to be executed. So there's plenty of solutions here that I think fit everybody. But exit planning, if I'm the quarterback, I'm going to be working in the triggering event, and that is the Value Max tool. I still recommend using client needs analysis. We can hop deeper into the actual platform, but client needs analysis is simply put a tool to generate a proposal. This is a sales tool. I'm going to use this as a diagnostics. Let's identify your pain points. Let's get to know your business a little bit more and identify the problems. And now, by the way, here's a proposal. So if you want to formalize your engagements with your business owners, then you're able to actually use our client needs analysis to generate a proposal, customize it with your bio and white label with your own disclosures and your branding and your logos. So I would still use this if I were a quarterback. From there, if I were a value advisor, I'd be going into KPI dashboards. We're going to identify some financial or non-financial KPIs that are going to align with everything that we've come up with on our action plan. The milestones and projects, we need to have some deadlines, assign some accountability to folks. That project management tool is really great and wonderful. So the whole point is Mouse is not too robust, if I'm just a quarterback. Mouse is not too much if I'm just a financial advisor playing that initial role. Remember, I'm licensed. I wouldn't have come over here if I thought, this is irrelevant for financial advisors. I actually came here because everywhere I went, in the exit planning community, everybody said they used Mouse. And I thought, this would be a pretty easy sales role. I'm going to go over to Mouse. Everybody just seems to buy it after they graduate from the CEPA program. A little bit of a joke there, but not really. I think that this is the space. If I'm a financial advisor, I would hop into these tools. So the other thing I want to chat about is we have an accredited partner program. So our partner program is really for the folks that say, I want to learn how to take this to market. I'm really looking for some sales and marketing pieces as well, some sales tools, and a little bit of a think tank group. If I could be surrounded by other folks that are in the same space or going through the same struggles, then that would be really wonderful. We've always included education. And historically, the education was and still is. We're expanding it to more of an education buffet, for lack of better terms. But historically, the education has really just been for folks that are accountants and bookkeepers looking to turn advisor and go to market. And that's a program that has been relevant for them. But if I'm a CEPA and I want further education, what would I turn to? Well, you would use us for the marketing tools. You would use us for the community still. We have plenty of CEPAs who are part of the partner program. Notably, the partner of the year last year for Mouse was Larry Weiss, who was just a featured speaker here at the EPI. But now we've expanded this quite a bit. So our partner program is $5,000 to join and $200 a month on top of your software tier. It includes education, marketing, accreditation, white labeled marketing as well, and then that professional network where you can turn to build out that quarterback or that complete CEPA team. But going forward, what we love to do is announce there's a lot of partners going on here. A Mouse accredited partner program now partners with the EPI. This was one of my things I was really passionate about, and I was happy that Scott was open to it. We're looking to launch now. Practice Launch Lite is going to be a course that you would be able to, that would be offered through our partner program. So this course, we'll turn it over to Scott to chat about more in a little bit. But the idea here is this is someone who's already graduated the CEPA program. And now we've got plenty of users outside of the CEPA community. So exit planning is very a passion of ours. So if somebody wants to get a peripheral understanding of the basics of value acceleration and exit planning, then we're also going to have the basics of value acceleration course available on our partner program. So the idea there would be most people in our community wouldn't be using both. They're going to pick one path there. Am I trying to get a peripheral understanding of exit planning, or have I already mastered it from an education perspective and now I want to take it to market? So both of those educational academy offerings through the EPI will be now repurposed and packaged into our accredited partner program. That's a big announcement for us. We're super excited about that. And I'll turn it over to Scott to chat a little bit more about it, but we're offering 15% off to all CEPAs. We always do that. It's 15% off of your monthly payment, but we're extending that to the monthly payment for the partner program for the month of September, and offering an additional $1,000 off, which is a pretty steep discount of the joining fee, the initiation fee for the partner program.
Yeah.
So, that's my bit. And I want to pass it back to you, Scott, just to chat a little bit more
Sure.
about the courses.
Yeah. So first, I appreciate those offers to our CEPA community. I think they will enjoy that. So what I love about what everybody's doing at Mouse today is when they approached EPI after really before, and then I think integrating into the summit, getting to integrate with our CEPAs, what I like about Aaron too is that he's kind of like me and Chris from the standpoint of, we said, look, EPI is not a software company, right? We're an education, training, and perhaps even coaching type company where we're helping educate professional advisors. What we're not are software developers, or we're not really providing any additional resources to really go out and power that methodology, right? The methodology is universal, and we're here to educate and empower the CEPA with that methodology that they've learned. And so what Mouse said was, hey, let's get together and let's stay in our lanes, right? We're expert software developers and resource developers. You guys are expert educators, particularly around value acceleration, methodology, and everything exit planning. And so for those of you that follow, certainly EPI, back in last year in 2021, EPI launched a new product line called EPI Academy. The Academy is designed to be virtual, on-demand, self-paced education that allows either the CEPA to advance themselves inside of the methodology or outside of the methodology, and things like Practice Launch Lite, sales and marketing, better owner engagement, or allow the non-CEPA who's might be interested in CEPA and something like getting into the EPI community, but isn't in a position yet to kind of jump full in like many of you have, earning the designation. And that's through something like the BVA, the basics of value acceleration. For those of you who are CEPAs, if you can recall your CEPA experience, you went through about 16 different modules taught by 11 different instructors. What BVA does is break down the methodology into about 4 or about 5 or 6 modules in about 2 hours and give you the high level understanding of what the basics of value acceleration are all about, the high level understanding of the value acceleration methodology. Why I like it a part of this toolkit is that even if you are a CEPA, it allows you to kind of revisit the methodology in implementation mode. And you also have access to that to share in office, right? So if you have somebody helping you implement your CEPA designation, helping you implement Mouse in your company, you have people that are helping you do sales and marketing and branding for your firm, having them watch BVA also is critical. So Practice Launch Lite and BVA, Basics of Value Acceleration, are now a part of this accredited partner program. And I think it really allows the CEPA to have some additional education while in implementation mode. So two, I think, really cool courses, a part of our academy that are now a part of the Mouse product as well. And Mike, I kind of want to step back a little bit. If anybody has questions or anything like that, I asked in the chat if you guys want to throw them into the questions box, we can certainly facilitate those. But a couple of questions maybe for us to kind of get started. So can you talk a little bit about, of these influencers, engagers, these frankly financial advisors, right, as the primary group there, can you talk about maybe navigating compliance? I think one of the biggest things that's on my head in implementation mode, I'm saying, okay, I want to do some of this work, or I might want to utilize some of this as more of a conversation starter or marketing tool. But I need to get things probably compliant approved. Is that something that you guys can help with, or can you talk us through that a little bit? Because I know that's on top of a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, so this was a pretty fun experience for us. We put together, I'm sure, we're actually working with a couple firms right now that I know are going through some compliance stuff with you as well. So, it's always exciting because it's new every time. It's different every time. And what we noticed right away was that what I wanted to do, it's kind of like, and I borrowed this sort of experience from, when I was training life insurance agents or financial advisors to book an appointment. You got to really equip them like crazy. So, that training is no different. That even when we want a financial advisor to use Mouse over anybody, of course, well, we got to equip them. We got to make sure that when they go to compliance, that they've got a kit. And we put together a compliance kit. That's even webinar worthy of having its own, broadcast. So we put together a compliance kit, this vendor kit that's really critical. It covers different examples of compliance things that we've done in the past for other firms, whether they're large investment banks or securities organizations. And then we've got every link under the sun for anything that they would need. So that's definitely worth noting. If you want to if anyone wants to email me for the compliance kit, I can definitely share that with you. But now when I'm done meeting with the financial advisor, I always make sure I equip them with our compliance kit so that when they go to compliance, they're really trying to work towards, yes, it's not black and white. Can I use this or can I not use it? It's what would have to happen in order for us to adopt this, and it's all sales all over again, right? You have to sell your internal compliance department just to get approved to really do much. That's obviously for the captive agent broker dealers. The RIAs have a lot more flexibility. I've noticed a lot of captive agents that are doing their own DBAs, outside business activities. And that's always really successful for those guys. Once they get the DBA approved, they never really ask me too much about the compliance conversation.
Cool. Let's go back. I don't know if you can, Mike, but can you bring up that implementation guide too? Because I want to just kind of showcase that a little bit, because I think it's important for the CEPAs to kind of see how everything kind of ties back and forth, right? So when you had that open, you were on like the triggering event page, then we're moving into the prepare gate. I just thought it was quite unique, right? So from an EPI perspective, right, in working with Mouse to develop this, just stay here on this table of contents on us. It's an easy thing.
Yeah.
So what I love, again, so they brought in the education component, and then they said, okay, the biggest thing, again, regardless of which role you serve, the biggest hurdle for CEPAs next is I've learned something brand new and I'm trying to integrate it into my practice, either from a service line standpoint, like I'm going to be doing triggering events engagements, managing and retaining clients, or I want to bring it in from a conversational starter. I want a tool to help power that conversation and educate my clients along the way. So if you look here, they've broken this guide really all the way through the methodology, and certainly in the 2 gates where exit planning really comes alive. What I like about it, if you're going through, right, the triggering event process, the triggering event in deliverables, they've married in these engagements and deliverables that you all learned at CEPA into how their tool performs at each one of those levels that you've learned. So if you're looking at the triggering event deliverable section here, you can see everything that you've learned in CEPA pretty deliberately, right? Almost in its exact form. Strategic value is simple math equation, recasting EBITDA and recasting sales, your range of market multiples, the attractiveness and readiness and your personal financial scores. You have your 3 gaps. And so what I love about it for our certified exit planning advisors that are considering this right now is that Mouse has really come alongside you and said, look, at each one of these levels or each one of these points in the process, or perhaps each one of these deliverables, even into our prepare gate and our action plans, we're going to show you exactly how this tool performs at each one of these things. I think it's probably one of the first, if not the first, tool that has really come alongside the CEPA that deliberately. And I can appreciate what Mike and Aaron have done at Mouse, because I also think it unifies a market. And I was saying earlier with Mike is that I was just on a call with, frankly, over 100 financial advisors at this larger institution that were all non-CEPAs. So I'm educating them in the general process that we all learned at CEPA, right? Just an overview of the methodology. And we're talking about these mindset shifts that many owners have to make, and some of the challenges that they have to record on. How can we, and what is the solution? You've seen this presentation time and time again as a CEPA. One of those three major solutions is, I believe the market needs to adopt a common framework and process. And I don't think it could have gotten any more deliberate than this, right? Because if I'm saying as a non-CEPA coming into the Mouse product, they're also learning a similar methodology, right? As because these tools correlate to these specific deliverables, workshops, meetings along the way inside of both the Discover and Prepare gate. And so I can appreciate how Mouse has said, look, we believe in value acceleration. Actually, I think Mike and Aaron also came through the CEPA program, so they understand what you guys have gone through and now have learned. And we're going to marry all the language and all the deliverables right up the side of our tool and showcase you through this implementation guide how you would be using Mouse if you were a Mouse user. So I think that, again, long-winded answer here, but passionate about it. I think one of the biggest struggles for certified exit planning advisors is that they're almost evolving or almost jump-starting their career. So they're saying, look, now I'm something new and even different. Implementation has been critical. And now they almost got to paint by numbers with this Mouse, CEPA implementation guide. So I would just say that my point in kind of spending some time here is that I think implementation is key coming out. I think your 120 days, so those first 4 months upon graduation, if there's any newer CEPAs on the call, is probably even more critical. And I like that this guide has come along with that. So I don't know, Mike, if you have any comments on any of that, but I just like how it's all kind of been brought together.
Yeah, and the intention was that, once you've completed the course, we're not trying to give you more information and have you learn another language on top of everything. Most people's heads might be spinning already, and now they're looking at, how do I turn this into in a revenue stream? And that was our intention with this, is that we really do. We want to back off of being, sort of an education role and just help you implement everything you've learned. So that's the intention of the guide. And I have to give a big shout out to we have another Peter, not Peter Hickey, Peter Kelch, our director of marketing, who has spent hours on this again and again. Sure. You can see it says V4, so he's done hours on this 4 times. So we're pretty excited and thankful for him for putting that together.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd like to kind of round out our conversation here with maybe a little bit a deeper, if you will, of an example around each one of these key roles, right? So I'm scrolling through the folks that are on the list, recognizing some names on joining us here today, and they truly are representative of really all 3 different types of folks. And so let's just break it down for our sake of our conversation into maybe 2 folks. And so if I'm a financial advisor, but I don't want to actually, or I don't want to or can't actually do the deliverable type work, but I am looking for something where I can help educate in a business owner, right? So I'm maybe want to show a calculation of value. I want to talk about the gaps. I want to talk about some of these things that are in this guide. Can you show me a couple of things? And if you want to throw up the software, great. If you want to just talk about it, great. The question is then, in summary, I'm a financial advisor that wants to use a tool to better have a deeper and better conversation with an owner and bring in some dynamics and some interaction in there. Where does Mouse help me along that way?
Yeah, that's a good one. So, it's always weird and wonderful, everything that you find with how people use us. Even as a financial advisor, I could be RIA or captive agent, you'll use this differently, whether it's a paid engagement or not. But we'll find there's some unique commonalities And one cool example, I've got a user that's used this since 2017 as a financial advisor, and he charges $10,000 for an exit plan.
Right.
And he would go into Value Max. Value Max is the exit planning portion. And we've got 4 assessments in total in Value Max. 2 on the business attractiveness and exit readiness. Business attractiveness, obviously, how attractive is my business through the lens of a third-party buyer, and exit readiness is more of that reverse due diligence. The personal assessments, how ready am I personally? That's something, if I always say to folks that they're not going to specialize in all 4 categories. It's not the point. Their job is to still, quarterback people through the process. I'm not a life coach. I'd be a really bad one or a really blunt one. I don't think people they would like me too much. So if I were, to do the personal readiness assessment, when I got here, I would email this out and I would say, hey, I don't know what your process is. You go meet with your pastor, your spouse, a bourbon and a cigar, whatever it might be, but I'll email this over to you. And this is where you get to decide if you're personally ready, or at least assess how ready you are to walk away from the business. Have you considered a next step? Do you really want to see your spouse every single day? All of those questions will be covered in that category, and they get to really shine here in the financial readiness. What I do love about this is that we're extremely easy to customize. So if you want to change the topics, wealth management, risk management, if you want to change some of these topics, you're welcome to. If you want to change the questions, you're definitely welcome to. But this is a great tool to even, cross-sell. If you found there are opportunities from an insurance perspective to de-risk the business, there's plenty of, fact finders in here for you to uncover some other opportunities. One cool example I've seen with financial advisors is most of them have worked us backwards, where they'll say, I'm going to start with the personal gap. I want to understand how much your business really needs to sell for in order for you to be okay. And we're going to work backwards then to go through these assessments and really get an idea of value for your business, to then see what that gap is. We can then move that into our action plan report. I'll give you an example of that one. I always think it's fun to look at the action plan. And there's something that we call a priority action plan. The priority action plan will just take anything that we're failing in and populate it all into one report. So when we take a look at the action plan, we're going to have the category that we're inspecting, the topic. We'll always provide some canned recommendation. It will never get you in trouble with compliance. It's actually too broad or too vague. If you got mad about it at all, maybe because you thought it wasn't specific enough, that would be the only complaint you might have. But we've got room here to get more specific and then put some notes in, assign accountability, who's going to be overseeing this specific topic, and what's our deadline. And I think you can rework this on a quarterly basis. You can run a new scenario, do comparative reports to always illustrate, why are we doing this as a business owner? We took you from 50% as a Value Max score up to 65%. And you can see that progress happening as they're getting closer to being a best-in-class business. That's how I would use it if I were a financial advisor or any quarterback, really.
Yeah.
And the other side of it is you can get as involved as you want to. If you want to email all assessments and you just have the reports populated and you can go over the reports with them, or even email them the reports, you can be really hands-off. If this is just a value add that you're not really charging for, I'd probably recommend going that route. But if this is a paid engagement, you do have to do some work. So
yeah. No, I like sharing this, because I think that, again, regardless if you're the financial advisor looking for, frankly, a deeper conversation starter, or more of the value advisor or the consultant that's actually going to go do the work, just by showcasing that, you kind of get both ends of it, right? You can see the robustness of the Mouse tool there and how you would use those as purebred deliverables, things that you're charging for. But pull it back a little bit, you could see, look, I want to, I played golf. I'm a financial advisor. I played golf with a business owner, had a nice conversation about wealth gap, profit gap, value gap, the things that, and whatever we're talking to them about CEPAs that kind of intrigues and empowers and moves them along. And they say, look, let's have a secondary meeting. We can sit down as a financial advisor utilizing one of these tools to, again, just further the conversation, and then say, look, we got to get the triggering event done. That's the first step in the process. And I want to refer you over to one of my partners that is a fellow CEPA that actually does that work. But I think it's important for the audience to see just kind of the full breadth of the tool, that it's not just for those that do the consulting work like a Chris Snider used to be, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It is for really, truly, and as you put in that implementation guide, and as we talked about, as I kicked off our webinar together, it's truly has really become a tool in Miles 2.0, if you will, that really the whole CEPA community could use in some form to either better a conversation and enhance it, or actually conduct the exit planning engagements and produce the deliverables and get paid to do so. So nonetheless, yeah, I think it has really evolved.
Yeah, and we've seen both sides, even coming from financial firms, where one firm with all captive agents reduced our questions from 300 down to 30. And their purposes are different, right? So they're going to use a little bit and they don't want to overwhelm people. So they're using it for more marketing while adding some value. And then we have another firm that's, more RIA. So these are independent advisors. And they let them do the full spectrum up to even KPI dashboards and business plans and running through our master plan tool to execute business plans and even do cash flow forecasting by integrating in QuickBooks, right? So you can see a wide range there. And it's the idea is that we're just going to match whatever compliance is going to allow you to do. Whatever the scope of work is that you're looking to do, we can help you execute that.
Cool. Well, Mike, I just kind of winding down. If you have any final comments for me, everybody, I think that it's nice to see this nearly 10, maybe even 10 plus year relationship with Miles continue to evolve and flourish. I am deeply appreciated for someone that represents the EPI community, how intentional and deliberate you guys have been since purchasing Miles at really furthering the CEPA, whether it's the implementation guide, whether it's the literal 2.0 of Miles. And I would say that for all of you that do attend the summit, I would spend some time with Miles while you're there, likely be doing a breakout session where they're talking to CEPA implementation and how to not just use the tool, but appropriately implement everything that you learned at CEPA, and how the Miles tool can come alongside that. So great partner to have, guys. I hope you guys have learned something a little bit deeper and seen the power of Miles 2.0, if you will. Mike.
Awesome. Yeah, no, just again, thanks for the time. And we're excited to really offer this partner program, make it more relevant to the CEPA community. And we're hoping that, come September, you take advantage of $1,000 off. I mean, it's a big savings, and the additional 15% off the monthly. So throw a time in my calendar if you want to actually walk through what am I getting with the partner program. I think that will be really relevant to you individually. So yeah, let's hop on a call and we can customize what that looks like for you.
Cool. Well, thanks, Mike, and thanks everybody for joining in. This webinar is recorded, so if you are a certified exit planning advisor, it'll be plopped into your member center for review. But we'll see you guys all soon. Thanks, Mike. I really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.
Yes.